Hello students, I am Dr. Tripti Singh, Associate Professor in IMS Ghaziabad University Courses Campus. Today we are going to discuss the topic mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. And in today's session, we will discuss about the introduction of the mitochondria, the structure of the mitochondria, its matrix, that is the fluid present inside the mitochondria, what is its role, that is the function of mitochondria, and the mitochondrial DNA. Also, the main function of mitochondria, that is cellular respiration overview, we will also cover in today's class. Now, the introduction of the mitochondria. So, mitochondria has been discovered by Richard in 1890s. It is also known as the powerhouse of the cell because of the ATP synthesis that takes place inside the mitochondria. It is present nearly in all the eukaryotic cells, and it is the main site of cellular respiration and the ATP synthesis. This is the main structure of the mitochondria, and here we can see that it is a double membranous cell organelle. So it is consist of the inner membrane and the outer membrane. The outer membrane that is also known as the outer covering, and the inner membrane, it contains several infoldings that is known as the cristae of the mitochondria. Also, the fluid that is present inside the inner membrane of the mitochondria is known as the matrix, that we can also see inside the diagram. And inside the matrix of the mitochondria, the structure that has been represented by the green color, that is known as the ribosome. And also one small particle present that has been shown by the maroon color, that is F1 and F0 particle, that play very important role in the ATP synthesis. And one more thing that is present inside the mitochondria, that is known as the mitochondrial DNA. It's contain its own DNA, and due to which it is named as MT, that is mitochondrial DNA. The space that is present in between the inner membrane and the outer membrane of the mitochondria is known as the intermembranous space. This is the next diagram, that is the detailed diagram of the inner membrane and the outer membrane of the mitochondria. So the inner membrane of the mitochondria, we can see that below the inner membrane there is a matrix present, and just above the inner membrane of the mitochondria, that is known as the intermembranous space. And the space that is present outside of the outer membrane is the cytoplasmic part of the cell. And the inner membrane and the outer membrane, it is consist of the phospholipid bilayer that has been represented by the yellow color, and it consists of the phospholipid bilayer. Along with that phospholipid bilayer, several types of protein complex present inside this inner membrane and outer membrane, that has been represented by TOM complex, SAM complex, TIM23 and TIM22. So these are the different protein complex through which the movement or transport of different types of ions and molecules takes place. So it is also play very important role in the transport process that has been takes place through the mitochondrial membrane. Also, the inner membrane and the outer membrane, it is connected with the mitochondrial ribosome, and some carrier protein present that helps in the transport of ion from inner membrane to the outer membrane of the mitochondria. So the outer membrane, it is basically permeable to all the ions and the small molecules. The inner membrane, it is selectively permeable, and it is also the main site of ATP ETC chain, that is also known as the electron transport chain, that takes place inside the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Cristae, that is also known as the inner membrane, and the main role of this cristae is it increases the surface area of the mitochondria, and it also act as a site of ETC and ATP synthesis. Mitochondrial matrix that we had already discussed, it is the fluid that is present inside the inner membrane of the mitochondria. It also contains enzyme for the Krebs cycle. It also contains DNA, RNA and ribosome, and it is a main site for the metabolic reactions. This is a diagram of the electron transport chain, and it takes place inside the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So this is a detailed diagram of the inner membrane of the mitochondria, and these blue colors shows the different types of complexes, complex 1, 2 and 3 and 4, that is present in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. And through this complex, this NADH has been oxidized into NAD plus, and due to its oxidation, the proton has been generated. and this proton has been pumped from the matrix into the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So due to this movement of the proton from inner membrane to the intermembranous space, a force has been created, an electrochemical potential, and due to that force, and this proton start moving again into the matrix of the mitochondria, and then this proton combined with the oxygen that has been present in the inner membrane or the matrix, and it produces water. For the transport of proton from the inner membrane to the matrix, there is one more channel present, that is known as ATP synthase channel, that play very important role for the movement of the proton. Function of mitochondria. So as we had already discussed, it play very important role in the ATP production through the process of oxidative phosphorylation. It regulate metabolic activity, it regulate apoptosis, and it is a main site of calcium storage. Now the overview, like it is a main site of ATP synthesis. So the process of ATP synthesis is the first step is the glycolysis that takes place inside the cytoplasm of the mitochondria. And during the glycolysis, the glucose has been converted into the pyruvic acid. Now that pyruvic acid has been utilized in the Krebs cycle that takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria. Now the synthesized NADH has been utilized for electron transport chain that takes place inside the inner membrane of the mitochondria. And ATP synthase that we had already discussed, it plays a very important role for the transport of proton from the inner membrane to the matrix, and where the proton combine with the oxygen to form the water. And during this combination, the energy that has been released is known as the ATP synthesis. Oxygen is the final electron acceptor that combined with the hydrogen, and water molecule has been produced. And if we see the total amount of energy that has been generated in the mitochondria, it is the 36 ATP per glucose molecule. Now at last, it is essential for energy production. It is unique to semi-autonomy because of its own DNA and the ribosome. It is central to health, aging, and the disease, and the future research like mitochondrial therapy, bioenergetics, and genetics.